Welcome to News from Down Home, where I'm talking about news from Princess Anne, Somerset County, Maryland. That's my hometown. My family moved there from Western Pennsylvania in 1903, and I lived there when I was a young child until we moved away at the age of my age of 13 for my father's job. But I still regard it as my hometown, my home area I lived in. We had a 30-acre farm with 8 acres on the river, Minokan River, and my dad called it the Greenbrier. He made a sign up for it for the front yard, for the driveway. I had a great time there, wandering the fields and streams with my three-legged German Shepherd dog, Rin Tin Tin. I called him Rennie. He had been injured in a farm accident there, and so that was my youth, and I definitely remember it fondly. Although it wasn't always a great time, there was a lot of issues with people. But my family wasn't happy there, unfortunately. So anyway, I went up. This Marylander and Herald was the paper of record, and until the 1980s. And this was the people's version of Facebook and Instagram. They would get their world news, their local news, and even personal stuff, and who's sick and what they cooked and who visited who. And I think it was fascinating to look at their names and just remember things, remember these people, think about how their lives were. They're probably all dead now. I'm sure they are because that was over 100 years ago. But they have ancestors, I mean, descendants that live there now. I'd like to know if anybody watches this video and knows any of these names or people, definitely please let me know. Put it in the comments. So let's begin with some of the happenings here. Former state's attorney Gordon Tull left last Tuesday for Atlantic City, New Jersey, where he enjoyed the sea breeze for several days. How about that? Mrs. Margaret Knighton or Miss Margaret Knighton of Baltimore is visiting Miss Alice Thomas at Mount Vernon. Dr. R.R. Norris, who's one of Christyville's most prominent physicians and a well-known member of the Smith-Harrington wing of the Somerset Democracy, has been appointed to a lucrative position in the state land office. It is understood that the duties of this position will require his absence from Christyville. Um, Now you have about 50 ministers, most of them from Maryland, were present at the opening of the Country Life Conference at Maryland State College of Agriculture Monday last week. Many of the ministers were accompanied by their families and friends. Mr. John F. Stevenson and Miss Alice K. Colburn, both of Marion, were quietly married on Wednesday evening, July 19th, at the Baptist Parsonage in Chrisfield. Reverend William H. Stewart, pastor of the church, officiated. And one more, I'll do one more. Let's see. Um, Mr. W. Stanley Phillips of Clara, Maryland, has accepted the position of first assistant in the Princess Anne High School. Mr. Phillips is a nephew of Mr. John B. Roberts of Princess Anne. So we'll stop there. Now we'll go to a notable building. Now, a glebe house is a house that a church has for its preacher, for him to use or to rent out or whatever. And a glebe, that's Glebe. And an important building to note, the glebe house is also known as Davis's Choice or Turner's Purchase, and sometimes incorrectly as the Samuel Chase House. It's an historic house at 10950 Market Lane in Princess Anne. It was a 1.5 story house built in 1784, and it's a rare instance of an 18th century brick ender, a building form that was what's common on the eastern shore of Maryland. It has three wood frame walls, and the fourth is brick, laid in Flemish bond with a projecting water table. The house was substantially altered in the 1920s when its roof was raised and the second story was added, but the work was undone when the house underwent restoration around the turn of the 21st century. It was long thought to be of a greater age than the childhood home or birthplace of Samuel Chase, a signer of the United States Declaration of Independence, but documentary research has shown these connections to be incorrect. It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2009. So if you're ever in going down Eastern Shore to go to Ocean City or go to St. Michael's or Rehoboth Beach, and you like to take a detour and go visit some quaint historic place that is full of history, has tremendous interesting history in it, I recommend going to Somerset County, Maryland. If you know any of these places that I mentioned or the people, or have any comments you want to make, feel free to do that. And thank you very much.